What if you could transform your backyard into a space that welcomes back wildlife? Not just a pretty yard, but a thriving ecosystem that boosts biodiversity. When we rewild our lands, magic happens. And in this series, we are reimagining outdoor spaces as living, breathing ecosystems, where design meets conservation and where beauty serves a deeper purpose. My name is Emma Tara, and I'm the urban botanist. I'm a naturalist, insect enthusiast, creator, and eco-entrepreneur. Last summer, I packed up my entire life, sold our house, and moved to Chelsea, Quebec, all on a whim after stumbling upon what I can only describe as my forever dream home. Got the keys! Surrounded by one of Canada's most visited national parks, Gatineau Park. This land, where I now have the privilege of living, is the unceded territory of the Anishinaabe and Outaouais peoples. I come here with deep respect for this land and the people who have long called it home, and who continue to do so today. I am now moving into experiencing my 4th season here. Winter was, simply put, magical. I never thought I would have enjoyed this season so much. But after countless cross-country ski adventures, wild ice skating, and even having our own skating rink on the frozen river, I think it's safe to say it's a winter that I'll never forget. Spring is finally here, and everywhere I look, nature is unfolding in its quiet, beautiful way, reminding me why this land is worth restoring. I'm so excited for what's to come in this series, and spring is already planting many seeds of inspiration for me. The home was built in the 70s with a few additional upgrades and additions in the last 10 years. It sits on 3.5 acres of wild forest within the protected National Park of Gatineau. The couple who built this home were apparently really interesting and lived totally eccentric lives. At least that's what our neighbors have told us. The husband was a German architect, and the wife was, unsurprisingly, a huge nature lover and avid gardener. Like, the gardens here are so extensive and magical. I hadn't even stepped foot inside of the house yet, and I just knew that it was going to be the home for me. Literally sobbing at how obsessed I am. But actually, one of my favorite parts about this house is the full-blown solarium that was clearly designed into the structure of the home for the nature-loving, gardening-loving wife. It was just so intentionally designed, and I love how there is a little tiny window almost in every corner of the house so that you can see outside. The fact that this little built-in sink was already here, like, you can really tell that the original builders and owners just loved nature. It hasn't been all rainbows and butterflies since moving in, though. In our first week of living here, we experienced our first natural disaster.
The bridge is almost completely covered.
And the little trickling stream that we have through our property has turned into a full-blown raging river, which truly had me questioning if we had made a huge mistake. Luckily, the flooding that happened here didn't damage too much of our actual house, but our landscape was destroyed. And it really got me thinking, how can we plan things differently for next time? And also, what else is actually growing here? The original husband and wife who lived here clearly had a deep love for gardening and spent years cultivating the landscape with care and passion. But in the 70s, 80s, 90s, even up until the last 10 years, there hasn't been nearly as much awareness about the impact of introducing non-native species to habitats. Back then, it was more common practice to plant what was beautiful, hardy, and readily available. without understanding how these species could disrupt and even damage local ecosystems. And unfortunately, even today, garden centers are still selling a lot of these species, and homeowners are unknowingly bringing them home and putting them in their gardens, not realizing the damage that can occur. And that's definitely what happened here. Much of the landscape around my home is now covered in aggressive, non-native species that outcompete the native plants essential for supporting local wildlife and biodiversity. This is a huge problem. This land has been stripped of its native biodiversity, and these ecosystems are out of balance, and that is where this journey begins. In this video and in the next several videos that I'm sharing exclusively here on YouTube, we are going to be learning all things sustainable landscape design. I'll be taking you along with me as I learn how to transform this land to not only be functional, but a true reflection of how I like to spend my life outdoors, but also with conservation in mind. This series is about healing the land one step at a time. We're diving into the world of conservational landscaping, sustainable design, and habitat restoration. The goal? To transform this space into a thriving, self-sustaining ecosystem where nature can return, flourish, and rebuild. But this isn't just about my home. It's a movement, one that anyone, anywhere can be a part of. Around the world, we've lost over 70% of our natural landscapes to urbanization, agriculture, and deforestation. But what if we could give some of it back? Rewilding isn't just about planting trees. It's about restoring balance, bringing back native plants, protecting pollinators, and creating spaces that work with nature, not against it. And through this series, we're going to show you how.
It's going great. It's going great.
The first start of this process was filmed back in the fall, where I met with expert landscape designer Trent Brown, who flew all the way here from Saskatoon to help me with this project. We had an initial walkthrough of the property, understanding how we could better optimize unused spaces. But more importantly, he spent time getting to know me as a homeowner and how I actually flow throughout my home on a regular basis so that we can create a design that is a true reflection of how I live my life.
So I'm Trent Brown, founder of Groundbreak Design, which is a landscape design firm that specializes in taking homeowners' yards from this place of like stress and anxiety and overwhelm for them, and we turn that into just places that they love spending time in. It sort of pulls them outside to use them.
Since then, Trent and I have had several virtual meetings where we got clarity on the mood and vibe for this massive design. We even got together last week in British Columbia at the Vancouver Home and Garden Show to share a sneak peek at the first looks of what we have in store for this transformation.
I think it's important for people to spend time in their outdoor spaces because we just crave it as humans. I think that interaction with the outdoors, that's why when we walk past plants, we'll stick our hands out and, feel the leaves. We'll gaze at a fire for hours and chat, and, it evokes conversation. We just like being connected to nature.
I am so excited to share more of this project. I have really big dreams for a medicinal plant garden, fresh flower cut garden, and a greenhouse space to grow my own food. During our first meeting, we also met with horticulturist, local conservationist, and native plant species specialist Jeff Collins from Rewild Landscape Designs.
We are a queer-owned and operated ecological landscaping company focused on getting rid of lawns and replacing them with ecosystems. Started this during the pandemic as a way to alleviate so much of that stress that people were having thinking about the world and everything.
So if you're anything like me and have no idea where to even start when it comes to designing an outdoor space, whether it be an edible garden, a flower garden, a deck with tree coverage for privacy, your dream water installation like a stone river or a fish pond, or just simply transforming unused space into something with more functionality you are in the right place. So if you've ever wondered how you can make a difference and how you can turn your own space into a sanctuary for wildlife, get ready to learn from our various experts, get your hands dirty, and uncover the science behind what makes a habitat healthy. It won't always be easy, but nature is resilient. And with a little help, it can even heal. I'm really looking forward to rewilding my home and returning it to nature so that more wildlife feels welcome. We'll be releasing regular videos that highlight every single project each step of the way. If you want to see more regular updates from us, make sure that you are following us on Instagram. You can follow me at The Urban Botanist here, Jeff from Rewild Landscaping here, and Trent from Groundbreak Designs here. I'm so excited to share the next step of this process with you. So make sure that you're subscribed and we will see you in the next video.